fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Joker fires his head coach. Are we to believe that, folks? That Joker will get his head coach fired? That's the news on the wire. And that's the only thing we're going to talk about here. So I'm just saying, folks, we got to talk about a lot of scenarios. And the first thing that's going to come up is, this talk about the Lakers getting an easier path now that the Grizzlies head coach, he got fired. And let's think about these things, because Mike Malone, in the other head coach for the Grizzlies, is it really their fault that things have been going so bad? When we talk about the Denver Nuggets, it's like I got my tongue in my mouth, literally, right, with my tongue in my teeth, but tongue-tied. But Mike Malone, this has to be the worst head coach firing in NBA history, and it's not even close. Maybe the only one that I could come close with was the head coach that got fired from the Cavs in 2016. Luckily, LeBron James won the final. Is that the year where they fired the head coach in the middle of the year? And they were like, what, first or second? Something like that. I want to say it was 16. But anyways, that was pretty bad. I mean, if you want to say Phil Jackson getting fired from the Bulls after winning a three-peat and actually winning a six championships. So I don't know, folks. The Phil Jackson is the worst firing of a head coach. You fire a coach that won you 2 three-peats and a coach that just won his latest three-peat and won a championship, period? If you want to talk conspiracy, then you can talk about that, folks. And I've always told you, I don't believe that the Bulls broke up that team, the organization. I believe the NBA broke up that team because they did not want that thing to keep going. Don't give me nothing about San Antonio the next year in 99 when it was a shortened season, which would give Michael Jordan even more rest. And whatever the circumstances, I'm just saying, if they was able to keep everybody. Dennis Rodman coming back, I don't know. They could have added one more piece. Who knows? But with the will of Michael Jordan, the league was done. They didn't want to see them win anymore. I think they wanted to, because they knew Michael Jordan would never play for another coach after that. And he didn't really want to go play for another organization or another coach. So Mike was saying, you guys are forcing me out. So they were pretty much, in essence, forcing the Bulls out of the league. Basically. Now, we all know some of those guys kept playing, but Mike said he didn't want to go play for another coach. And he wanted to play with Pippen. Also, I don't know if he would have came back. Even if Phil would have came back and the contract with Pippen, I'm not so sure he would have came back without Pippen. Now, again, if they would have kept Phil, Jordan would have came back, and I think Pippen maybe would have signed for one more year. And the pieces fall in place. But yeah, that to me, the NBA broke that apart, folks. They didn't want no more of this. It was a good run. They wanted to let somebody else win. And I don't mean to keep harping on this because we done did a whole video on this. And what's so crazy about it, when you think back at it, and we want to believe that the Bulls would actually break up this team with all this money involved with Michael Jordan and the rest of the Bulls and winning, period, how much money they're losing now? They're losing a lot of money. But also, the NBA is losing a lot of money on top of that. So it's kind of like, what? What? It didn't make no sense in a lot of ways that they're trying to tell us, man. The whole thing didn't make any sense. And you the whole money thing, you're losing all this money. and you're losing, with viewership, with ticket sales, everything, merch. Well, let's get back. We can make a whole another video on that. But maybe this might be the second worst firing of all time with Mike Malone. He just won a championship almost 2 years ago. He's always been making the playoffs. He gets along with his players. He lets Joker do what he wants. He has high praise for Joker all the time. We're just going on a losing streak. And we got to remember, like at the beginning of the season, halfway through the season, they were like down there at number 7, 6, 5, all this stuff. So they worked their way from the bottom all the way back up to the top. So them losing games of late, what does that really mean? And to me, when I look at it, 2 through 7, they are the same team. There's no team that is better than the other. 2 through 7. Right? Now, we can understand if they sit at the Denver Nuggets sat at number 2 the entire year. Right? And then they start free falling. It wasn't like that, folks. It wasn't like they had to fight their way up to number 2. And then where they are now, I think they're number 3? If I'm not mistaken. So let's talk about Joker. And like I said, we won't know the details about this whole thing until the organization really says something, put out a public statement. And really, they should have already, right? As soon as they announced they fired him, they should have just put out a statement. But it really don't matter that we wait for the statement, because we know what the statement is going to be. A lie. It's going to be a lie. Something like, oh, we didn't like the way, the team was moving, the direction of the team. Whatever they put out is not going to be the truth, right? It's going to be double talk. It's going to be stuff like that. And it really don't matter now. The guy ain't got no job. So for me, when I heard about this, I got to put a lot of things in perspective. And I was able to look at a lot of things that will warrant him being fired. Well, let's look at this. Do you think they're going to fire Mike Malone? A guy who has no beef with his own team. We've never heard of this. And do you think they're going to fire him without getting the approval of the greatest player in the 2020s? 3-time MVP? Joker? You think they're just going to fire his coach like that? No, folks. No way. No, there's no star player playing today, and I don't think ever that they're going to fire the head coach and not run it by the franchise player, the star player of the team. That's not going to happen. And definitely not this star player. I could see maybe a guy like Halliburton, maybe a Dame time when he was back in Portland. But it's hard for me to accept that they would not run it by the star player. This is the star player, the main player of the team, the franchise player. There's no damn way they wouldn't run it by Joker. So with that being said, we should know that they did run it by Joker. And to me, he approved it. He had to approve it. So you think that they ran this by Joker? And Joker would say, whatever you want to do, I can't stop you. That's on you. It's not my team. You really think Joker said that? Get out of here. So Joker would have, if the team went to him, which we keep saying there's no reason why they did it, Joker had to either say, okay, get him out of here. It was a good run. Or, no, what are you doing with no, you can't let him go. I want to play for him. That's my coach. Ain't that what Michael Jordan said? I ain't playing for no other coach but Phil. But on the other hand, Joker had to say, this dude got to go. I don't care if you release him. I don't care if you fire him. Whatever you want to do. Because if not, folks, he will still have a job today coach in Denver. Now, we can come up with some other scenarios. I was looking at Joker's contract. He still has 2 more years left. He's got next year, and then after that, he has a player option. So what are we looking at right here? I know this sounds crazy, but do you get rid of Joker before his player option? Because to me, how much you're going to have to pay this guy? A lot of money. He's the second highest paid center in the league. I just found that out. I think he's the 6th highest player in the league. Crazy, right? 3-time MVP. So do you trade him next season? Or in off season, whatever. Next year's deadline, because after next year, he's got a player options. So he could opt out if he wanted to. So do you want to take that chance? For him opting out after next season, or do you want to trade him and try to get something for him? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We can keep talking about that in a minute, but well, that's why I was saying maybe that's why they got rid of Mike Malone, because maybe they want to blow it up next year and try to get something for him. But we'll talk about that in a minute. I've heard people say that maybe Joker got Malone fired because he didn't have any help. No, I don't believe that, folks. I don't believe that. I'm sticking with my guns and what I said before, and I'm going to keep saying it. If the star player wants help, he's going to go get help. He's going to ask for help. Where are the rumblings with inside Mike Malone and especially Joker? How they've been trying to get him some Hall of Fame talent. Now, to me, we talked about Porter Jr., right? This guy should have been out of there after last year. Out. If it wasn't for that brick fest, I'm not trying to say they would have went to the finals, but they would have beat Minnesota. You do need help. You do need help. And you do need help from more than 2 people. So Porter Jr. Bricking it up last year, you got to get rid of him. But you let him sign a contract for what? In the offseason, huh? That's all I heard when that Minnesota game was over. They got to get rid of this guy. What do? They let him sign a contract for what? For what? They got these guys on max contracts. Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, and Porter Jr. for what? What the hell did they do? What did they do? So to me, I mean, they're trying to use Mike Malone as a scapegoat for not bringing help to that team. Now, I haven't heard nothing that players didn't want to play with Joker. I haven't heard that. Now, I mean, it could be. I haven't heard that. I heard players didn't want to play with LeBron James. That's why he ran his butt to Cleveland. That's why he ran his butt back to Cleveland, and that's why he ran to Miami. Because nobody wanted to go play with him. So I'm not buying it. If anything, why I would think that Joker don't want to play with some of these great guys out here is because of his stats. He don't want to bring down his stats. He wants to control the ball and throw it to wide open guys and get these assists and hope they hit the buckets. And then blame them later when they're not hitting the buckets, when they're not hitting the shots. No, you can't win like that. You can't win like that. You can't be the facilitator, the rebounder, take the most shots, and get the most points. How does that work? So I'm just supposed to bring the ball up as a point guard. And then after that, I'm not a point guard no more. You're the facilitator, the center. These guys are weird, man. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just scratching my head with all this stuff. It makes no sense. At this point, we can say whatever we want, but I'm holding Joker accountable for this. We just got to, because you can't fire a man's head coach. The leader of the team, you can't fire him unless you approve it. Or unless he approves it. And it looks like he approved it. He's never going to say he approved it. For sure he's not going to say that. He ain't going to say that. And he's going to get... To me, their season is over, folks. Houston, who was it? Houston, Memphis. Oh, goodness. Was it the Clippers? Houston, Memphis. I forget. Maybe it was the Clippers. And they have a chance to lose all of those games. All of them. So to me, this is the last hurrah for Joker. Don't misquote me. Don't put words in my mouth. Don't think I'm playing. This will be, I think this is Joker's, is this his 10th season? 10 seasons, 1 championship. That's it, folks. And you guys want to put this guy in the top 10 for putting out some stats and not 1 statistical title with 1 championship. You want to put him in the top 20 with one championship, no statistical titles. Let me look this up. Matter of fact, I keep blabbing about this. I don't want to be wrong. Of course you're gonna do that. Let me look this up real quick. Let me look this up real quick. Let me look this up real quick. So, oh, they're trying to show. Oh, here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Guy's been in the league 10 years. And that's what he's got, folks. This year will be 10 years. He got 1 championship in this weak, soft era with no center competition. I'm sorry, folks. This guy is not, he's definitely not in my top 15. Imagine. I was talking to Two Raw on his video the other day, well, last night, and I said, just imagine. Because there was like shades of Michael Jordan with this guy last year that these guys were talking about. Like, this guy was on Michael Jordan's level. Like, they said the things he was doing was Michael Jordan-esque, and that his path was on a Michael Jordan path. You know, after he won that first championship? And then last year he put up a whole bunch of stats. But I was telling Two Raw, left a comment, and I said, you know what? What if Michael Jordan continued to put up stats? Right? What if Mike continued for 10 years in his career and he continued to put up the same stats, right? He continued to put up 35 to 37 points a game. He grabbed you about 6 rebounds and he gave you 7 assists. You know, while he was getting those blocks and steals, you know, like he was earlier in this year. What if he continued with those stats, folks? And then you looked at him after 10 seasons. What would that be? Well, let's say he didn't ever retire. 10 seasons. What would it be, like 90? I want to say 94? Yeah, not the 94, 95 season. And you looked at Michael Jordan and he had 1 damn championship and 3 MVPs and never beat a 50-win team in the playoffs. And the only team that he did beat in the playoffs when he won the championship, well, not the only team, but the team he did beat in the finals was an 8th seed. But if we being realer than that, Joker didn't even beat an 8th seed. He beat a play-in team. He didn't beat a play-in team. So anyway, we just say Michael Jordan beat an 8th seed, winning his only championship in 10 years, while still putting up those crazy stats, 35 to 37 points per game, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.5 blocks, in, I don't know, 2.5, 3 steals in 10 seasons. That's all you got to show for it. His stats and 1 championship and 3 MVPs. I don't know, folks. And this is why they was looking at Kareem kind of dumb. Because Kareem was on that same level. I think he was, 10 years. If I ain't mistaken, I think he had like 5 MVPs at the time. That's why they was looking at him crazy. Before Magic came. And then Magic showed up and it was different. But Kareem did have statistical titles, though. He did have block titles and rebound titles and scoring titles, and he played defense. Joker has got most of his stats now playing defense. The defense he plays, we got to go back and look at box metric and all. We can't see it. We can't see it on the court. We can't see it when this guy averages more steals than blocks. Wow. He averages more steals than blocks on these skinny 3-point shooters. I'm being serious, folks. I'm just saying, what would they think about Michael Jordan if he was in that same predicament? Or to me, any player in the 90s. You don't want 3 MVPs in 10 seasons, only got 1 championship, which was against nobody. And you beat no 50-win teams ever in the playoffs. Man, they'd be talking cash-ish about Mike. Mike is not a winner. Mike just put up stats. Maybe that would have been LeBron James too. If LeBron James never would have left his home, that's what it would have looked like with him. A whole bunch of damn stats, but no championships. I don't know. Maybe he would have won one once 2015 came. Maybe. I don't know. But we could go down the list with guys who won championships without a super team. And to me, what qualifies a super team is when you're playing with 2 other number 1 franchise players from other teams. Right? And we can look at it as either prime or not prime. But still, it's considered, if it's, whatever it goes, prime or not prime, it's still a cheap ring. But you're not going to be looked at as bad if you're out of your prime. You're all beat up, injured, and hurt. Like the big 3 the big 3 Celtics. We look at that like, now we can go back and look at that. And we found out it was so bad. Yes, they won a championship, but was together for like 6 seasons. But it was so bad, LeBron James, the same season that they won the championship, LeBron James took them to a damn game 7, shooting like shit in that 2008 playoff. Shooting like ish. The next season, they were, I don't know what seed they were. I want to say 3. Hold on. Beat by 3 and 4. Well, they might have been 2. Either way, the King had the number 1 seed over that super team, the big 3 Celtics. But what I do know, they were number 4 in 2010. They were number 4. That's what I do know. And the only reason why they won that series because LeBron James choked it down. So when we talk about an old, super team, there's a difference. Like the Pippen, before that, the Barkley, Drexler, and Elijah one. What? You would think put those days together? Steamrolling the NBA, folks. What happened in 97, 98? They got steamrolled. busted up, beat up, and broke. Old, beat up super team. That's what it is, folks. So you see the difference. Guys back then would only build a super team like that because they know to make one of what they used to be, to make a great player, you have to put two of them dudes together. You have to put two of them together at that point in their careers. And they were great, all-time great. You already know about the big three Celtics and, that big three on the Houston Rockets team. All those guys, all-time greats at their position. I think all-time 75 too. You talk about when they put Alonzo Mourning, Gary Payton, Shaq with Wade. Beat up, busted up, and broke. How do we know that? The first season, they couldn't even win the damn championship. The next season, they did win the championship. Some people say, the refs rigged it up. But whatever the case was, they never went back to the finals, folks. That's what we're talking about when we say it's a difference between an old super team and a super team in their primes. When you look at the Elgin Baylor and you look at the Wilt Chamberlain and what's this guy's name? I can't remember his name. Jerry West. Old, busted up, and beat up. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say, oof. So they lost to them. They went to the finals 3 times. Wow. If I'm not mistaken, I thought they lost in the finals 3 damn times. Oh, no. 2 times. They went there 3 and lost 2. And that's what we're talking about. The difference between a super team that's in our prime versus old, busted up, and beat up. It's a difference, folks. So again, when we talk about the LeBron James super teams, it's no comparison. It's no comparison. And LeBron James came, right out of high school. And, as we start getting down the line with this guy in his super teams, the physicality seemed to get, vanish from the NBA. It seemed to vanish. So the super teams, they're really not there no more. But what I'm trying to say is, Joker, he could get a star player, another great player, and it would not be a super team. To me, I don't consider the Warriors a super team. When we think about it, folks, we're only labeling that a super team because LeBron James got his brains kicked in. It's not a super team. Clay wasn't another team's number 1 franchise player. Draymond Green wasn't another team's number 1 franchise player. Only Kevin Durant was. So to me, that's a duo. It's not a super team. Even with Durant, they said, they try to say that 15 and 16 Warriors was a super team. Where? Draymond Green or Clay never led a team. When? Curry was a leader. And to me, it needs to be a trio where other dudes led other teams and they were number 1 franchise players. Pippen wasn't. Pippen wasn't no number 1 franchise player in no Bulls. Rodman wasn't. Let's think, Kevin McHale wasn't. If I ain't mistaken, Robert Parrish wasn't. I mean, you could say to a degree, maybe Tiny Archibald, Dave Cowens. These guys were washed, though. They couldn't lead the Celtics nowhere. And when Bird came there, Robert Parrish wasn't there, and Kevin McHale wasn't there. So, Bird, yes, he had a tremendous rookie season, but he was just leading some great Hall of Famers. It was kind of like Dwayne Wade, right? What he did when he went to the Heat. He went to the Heat, but when Shaq, and I think Alonzo Mourning, was he there that first season, or did he come the second season when Shaq was there? And Gary, what I'm trying to say is, it's almost like, Dwayne Wade, how he was able to lead, old, busted up, washed Hall of Famers. Great players. That's what he was able to do. Almost like what Bird was able to do. And then the next year, they get Robert Parrish and uh, who's that? Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale. These are draft picks. James Worthy, draft pick. Michael Cooper, was he a draft pick? I think he was. You know, Magic Johnson, draft pick. What are we talking about? You can't really call these super teams. It wasn't three guys coming together that was previously leading another franchise. Some people don't get that. You have to be a leader of another franchise. And to me, it has to be three guys. We talked about Jerry West, Will, Elgin Baylor, even though, that's kind of suspect because, Jerry West got drafted over there and Elgin Baylor was already over there. So I don't know, man. I'm not too sure of that. I'm not too sure of that. If you get drafted and you wasn't leading that team already, and you wasn't already a number one franchise player, how do you qualify that as a part of a super team? To me, what LeBron James did twice was a super team. Of course, what the Boston Celtics did was a super team. Of course, what the Heat did was a super team. In 2005, 2006, of course, what the Lakers did with Karl Malone, Shaq, Kobe, and Peyton, of course, super team. But like I said, we got to put it in context. It's an old super team. Even though Kobe was young, Shaq was, I ain't saying Shaq was old, was it? Shaq came in 92, so that would be, Shaq would be, at the back end of his prime. And we saw what happened. They lost. They lost. It don't work out like that. Just because you're a super team, that don't mean you earn a right to win championships, or you're going to win a championship. And that's what LeBron James really had to find out, as far as just because you come together, that don't mean you earn a right to win or a championship. Now, we all know they should have not really lost. It's because of him. He gets to sit around and watch other people play, make the main parts move. In the clutch, he don't get clutch rebounds. He don't get clutch steals. He don't get really clutch blocks. He don't get clutch points. You don't get clutch assists. What he does is he gets all his stats, basically 1 through 3, quarters 1 through 3. Right now, he will stat pad in a loss. We done seen that many times. When the game is out of hand, he will stat pad until the end and act like he don't know what's happening. Dude, you're getting your head knocked the hell in. Go sit on the bench. This was because of you. Get on the damn bench. So, this thing done went, a long time, and speaking a lot of stuff about this Joker thing, but if Joker don't come through this year, and he accepted his coach to be fired, how you gonna the organization let them players busted up, injured, and hurt on these contracts? There's no excuse that Joker let the organization, let me say it like this. There's no reason why Joker let the organization, let these guys, Porter Jr., Murray, and Gordon, sign these contracts. Because they're all busted up and broke. They ain't staying on the floor. Let's get you a 1-year deal. We'll get you some money, but let's get you a 1-year deal. You're worthless. Okay, you might play in the playoffs. Who knows? But you're not worth the regular season money. And then if you come up small in the playoffs because you're injured, you wasn't worth this max contract or whatever these big contracts that you want to sign. You reward these busted up broke players, but you fire Mike Malone for bringing you a championship and always making sure you make the playoffs? I don't know, folks. They need to get rid of the Phoenix Suns coach. They need to start cleaning the house with a lot of these damn coaches, if this is the case. But yeah, the Joker value is going to be, woof. We just made a video on this yesterday. The hammer is fixing to drop on a lot of these guys' legacies. Whether they're young or they're old. I ain't talking about no second year guy. Uh-uh. I'm talking about some of these guys been in the league 5 to 6 seasons. I'm not looking for a championship right there, but I am looking for you to go out like an OG and have some all-time good games as an all-time great. I want to see these games. I want to hear, sick of hearing about Anthony Edwards. I'm hearing this now, but that he's been clutch. He's a clutch player. Where? You clutch in a regular season? So again, like I said, these young players, I want to see them go down like OGs. I want to see them put up points in a loss. A win would be good too. But no, I'm done. And these old players, like I said, you need to retire. Go. You're done. The Kawhi Leonards, the LeBron James, the Hardens, I say Kawhi Leonard, yes. These type of, the Kevin Durant's, these guys got to go. To me, the Steph Curry, well, where's Steph come in? Steph is borderline for me. But a lot of these guys got to go. And then a lot of these guys that's, in the Joker position and in the Giannis position, around 10 years, come on, man. What else are you going to do in your career but win one championship? You can't keep living off of one damn championship and some stats and expect to be a top 10, top 15 player. No, I'm not seeing it. There's no all-time great teams in this era. So we don't want to hear about what Joker don't have with this and that. He let his buddies sign new contracts because he want to play with them. So if you're gonna get them some money, they better be getting you a damn championship. Because like I said, you ain't playing against no all-time great teams in this era. Anthony Edwards, not Anthony Edwards. Well, we were talking about the Anthony Edwards, the SGAs, the Lucas. These guys, these guys this is their era and they're up and coming, right? It's cool. You might not win a championship, but you got to go out there and you got to do the damn thing. That's all we're saying. The Karl Anthony Towns, all this regular season nonsense is over. Nobody cares about the regular season. Nobody even watches the regular season. Nobody watches the regular season because it's boring. You guys have made it boring. So you need to make it exciting in the damn playoffs and do something. These are the guys that should be, I'm just saying, folks. So you got your newer guys, you got your guys that's been in the league, that's basically, prime, just about the end of the prime, and then you got these dudes that need to retire. Then you got them guys that need to retire. So who's it going to be? Which guys are going to come through? Which guys are last playoffs was an embarrassment for all group of guys. The young guys, the guys that's already been in there, 9-10 years, and then you got these old guys. Last year was an embarrassment for the NBA, a straight embarrassment. And then you got your usual suspects. You got your Jason Tatum's. You got your who is this guy? I can't remember his name now. We just don't even talk about it. But Jason Tatum, oh my goodness. Jaylen Brown, of course. And then you got what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Do you have a bubble championship? Because that's what we're going to say if you don't make it to the finals this year. That ring last year was bubble. It was bubble. It was bubble-licious. Let these guys not go to the finals. I ain't saying they got to win. But if they do not go to the finals out of that East, I don't care about the Cavs. Cavs ain't got no team like Boston has. Don't give me the Cavs. The only team in the East that had 2 top 75 players on one team was Milwaukee. Milwaukee. Come on, y'all. And I know it's a team game, but what I'm trying to say is that Boston team is loaded. I don't want to hear no excuses. So it's going to be a good game tonight. Hopefully, we got OKC and the Lakers. And we talked about this situation concerning OKC. I don't heard a lot of excuses for these guys. These guys are NBA players. We could have made a lot of excuses, but they got blew out. They got blew out. Whatever the excuse you want to make. Oh, that's an anomaly, man. They got lucky they shot 55% from the three. SGA didn't go to the free throw line. Also, SGA didn't play in the fourth quarter. So we can't say he would not have went to the free throw line. He was getting his wig pushed back and confirmed to himself, I don't want to stay in here no more and get my wig pushed back. But they're in a crazy predicament. I don't think they can sit their starters out because they haven't won the number 1 seed overall in the playoffs. Second, even if they did have the number 1 seed overall in the playoffs, and they set their starters for this game, you would have to sit your starters for the rest of the season. Because if you try to play them after the Lakers game, they would call you, they'd be calling you all kind of names. They would say you're scared of the Lakers, blah, blah, blah. You can't beat the Lakers. But what's the facts? The fact of the matter is, you got to go out here and beat them. It don't matter how you beat them, how much you beat them by, you just got to beat them. Because you're screwed now. You got to play your starters. Because either they're going to say you were scared, or you would have to play them, or not play them the rest of the season if you don't play them in this game, and you know you got to play them the rest of the season anyway to get this number 1 overall seed. But, or if you didn't play them and you lost 3, this would be 3 in a row if you lost. And if you didn't play them the rest of the season, you could end up losing 5 in a row? But if you do lose tonight, wow, folks. A lot of people said, well, a lot of teams looked at it and said, man, Lakers beat the hell out of them. We got the recipe. And then they we'll see Tuesday. So will the league really have the recipe? If the Lakers beat them tonight, and trust me, the Lakers don't have to beat them by 25, 30 points or 15. All they have to do is beat them. And what I saw, they ain't gonna hit 55% from 3. That's ridiculous. They were shooting a 3. They continued to shoot the 3 because they was hitting the 3. It was going in. That's why. But at the same time, they were driving. Luka was driving. Reeves was driving. LeBron James was driving. They was also driving the ball on them. And Luka is playing games with them. Then I know Luka does that to everybody, but look, folks, the whooping that they got shouldn't have been like that. They was the number 1 defense in the league. Number 1 defense. A number 1 defense looks like, okay, if you lose to the Lakers, that looks like, okay, we lost by 10. Something like that, maybe at the most. That's what a number 1 defense looks like. That didn't even look like a number 20 defense. There's no excuse for that. You go into the locker room, you was getting your weight pushed back, and you adjust. Because whatever lead they got at halftime in the NBA, that's nothing in this era. Nothing. And we don't see how many times we don't see Lakers blow halftime leads. Third quarter leads many times this season. So it really ain't no excuse, man. But we'll see what happens tonight. To me, what a lot of people don't realize, and they should know, OKC ain't won nothing. They're regular season winners. Atlanta Braves did a lot of that stuff, right? In the 90s, woo, a lot of regular season wins. Got their doors blown off in the World Series. But the Joker fans, y'all got a lot to explain, man. This ain't looking too good. It looks bad. It looks really bad. So it's so many scenarios that you can come up with. But whatever one you come up with, they didn't have no business firing Mike Malone. And we do know there's no way this could be behind Joker's back. That's a lie. If they would do that to me, I'm opting out. When my contract come up, and what would that be, 26, 27? I'm gone. Matter of fact, trade me next year. If I'm Joker and you did this behind my back. So we already know they didn't do it behind Joker's back. And Joker had to okay it. He's the best player in this era. The best player in this era. So Joker said bye-bye. But the fact is, Joker better have a bye-bye backup plan on what's going to happen in this offseason. I don't know. To me, he needs to come off the ball. Come off the assist. I would like to see him grab, put up about 35 points per game and grab me about 15 boards a game and stay in the middle more. Get me 1-2 blocks a game and maybe 4 assists. And let somebody else handle the offense, handle the ball. Put him down there in the post, whatever. He bulldozes over these skinny 3-point shooters anyways. Put him in the post. He can shoot wherever he wants really, but mainly in the post. And they try to double him, kick it out. So, tell me what you think.